Hi, welcome back to Geekified. We are only 5 hours into this podcast so far. We just hit record. This is episode 7, I believe. I hope you're doing well. Please hit like and subscribe because we love you and we hope you love us just as much to help us get places. So, tonight's podcast. Hi, Callum, how you doing?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm very, 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 very well. Hi, Ryan, how are you?
I'm a happy camper, mate. Just
You
rocking and
must
rolling.
be happy with your cans of dragons. Like, I'm not even going to shy away from this. Like, I've just said
This
this to
is
him.
my special red
It
juice.
looks like some sort of like red cola. It's not. It's like it's like lethal fucking dragon soup shit that the boy drinks.
Mixed with gin.
Mixed
A
with
little
gin.
bit of gin, man.
Oh, a little bit. I'm glad it was the end.
concoctions away, but this will put heels in your balls, man. If you don't have them already, it will. And other places.
Oh, speaking about hairs in your boys. No, I'm just kidding.
If you want. I got some weird ones. A shaved beard. Let's see.
Hey, where were you? Where were you the last couple of nights?
We're not going to do there to do
We can't start this episode without actually starting with the biggest topic of this week, which was Barbenheimer. So Ryan was away making nuclear explosions in a different way with someone else. But me and Callum managed to go and actually complete Barbenheimer.
Yes.
We did it. We actually did it. It was pretty epic. And much to popular opinion, we did it the other way around, which everyone recommended.
So what way did you do it?
So we did Oppenheimer in the morning and then moved on to Barbie at night.
All right, no, I done it Barbie and then Oppenheimer.
Right, okay.
I did do it. I caught up, just not in the same with you. I'm sorry, I left you hanging a bit. It's my bad. That's my thing. I am a bastard. I'm a bastard.
Ryan was getting his hole. Let's put it that way. So it's completely and utterly respectable the fact that he couldn't
But
make
don't
it.
get it twisted. I'm still a bastard covered bastard with a bastard wee centre.
We can't name any names for legal purposes.
Yeah, but Stevie is doing okay.
He's hanging in there, the wee chap. He's all right. But I done Barbie first and washed it down with Oppenheimer. So.
It's genuinely so weird, right? Because everybody in the news is saying about it. It's basically the other way around that we're recommending doing it. It was my suggestion actually to go and see Oppenheimer first because Oppenheimer's a hard watch. You know what I mean? It's a difficult watch. It's a long watch, and I knew it'd be mentally not draining, but it would take a lot from you. So I wanted to see something that I thought would be funny, cheery, comedy gold, which turns out to be a patriarchal pile of fucking acid shit, which was different. Which is not different from my opinion that I gave to Callum on the night. So he's probably a wee bit shocked.
He's
at this.
backtracking.
I'm not backtracking, right? I'm not backtracking because I am genuinely with this. I won't get into the review yet, but that's the way we watched it. So whatever way you watched it, let us know and just a wee discussion on why you did it that way and just talk about it. I'd love to see it in the comments. Mm-hmm. But Barbenheimer, what we start with? What do you want? Let's start with let's start with what we can talk about less.
Right, okay.
That's Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I'm going to say we're going to talk a little bit less of Oppenheimer because for me, and I'll say exactly what I said to Callum, Oppenheimer for me, and a really quick summary to keep the podcast as short as possible, was a masterpiece, but it was bloated. That's exactly the best way I could keep it as short as possible. I know you disagreed with me. I just felt there was a lot of scenes in it that were completely unnecessary. You could have shaved at the very least, 10, 15 minutes off of the time. At least. Because there was so much just genuinely wasn't necessary for storytelling. But that's what I thought, Callum.
Yeah, I'm all for sitting in a cinema for 3 hours and watching an epic movie that's well made, well acted. There's no flaws other than you're saying the stretch time, like the 3 hours.
Yeah.
Length.
Apparently there was flaws. Did you see what someone spotted?
Oh yeah,
Did they use the wrong flag?
Yeah, too
no.
many stars on the flag.
Yeah, so when the film was set, I don't think they had. Was it Hawaii? Or Alaska? Or wherever the fuck it was. I'm not good with American geography, but it was 50 stars, so they used the wrong flag. And you know the horrific scene where Oppenheimer's seeing what have I done?
Yeah.
And everything's all that shaky stuff that was going on. It was apparently they used the wrong flag the whole scene.
Oh, fuck. You had one job. You had one job, flag guy.
Yeah, one job.
Flagman got sacked.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, but sorry.
I thought it was interesting because I didn't know the story of Oppenheimer. I didn't really know other than he created the bomb and the bomb went boom. That was pretty much as I knew. But I think It definitely felt like it was leading up to the bomb, and then after the bomb, we were thinking, right, this is wrapping up. But it then went into a kind of courtroom drama, which I quite liked. You know what I mean? It was quite intense. The acting was great. You didn't really know where your opinion stood on what's going on. You didn't really suspect that Downey Jr.'s character was going to be the asshole.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
If you're watching this, spoilers for Barbie, that too. If you care about that piece of shit, but anyway, but
sorry, I'm new.
No, but I think people should watch this. It's mostly spoilers anyway. It's more of a discussion rather than
it's probably a discussion in the movie. It's not really spoilery.
I mean, I agree with a lot of things. I could honestly, I had the whole last hour off it. Do you know what I mean? I agree with you. The lead up to the bomb and all that was really tense. It was well made. There was everything there that was really hooking me. The Robert Downey Jr. was a great actor in it. He really, do you know what I mean? For 1 minute thinking he was Iron Man, and to this guy here, I was like, it's really good. The dialogue, I don't think was particularly amazing. I think that the acting was really good, but not the dialogue themselves. I think I did see this somewhere else, but it's something I really agree with. Is it did feel quite clinical throughout. It was hard to kind of, I don't know if it was done on purpose or not, but it felt quite hard to get your my grips in with the actual characters, because they all kind of felt quite robotic in a way, but there was still really good acting behind that, especially with God, what's his name? I forget people's names all the time. The main actor, God damn, help me.
Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy, yeah. Especially Cillian Murphy and that. But it really kept me through it, especially with all the lead up to, you know, making the bomb and all that kind of thing. The last hour, man, I was just like, come on. I don't think as well, I think with Christopher Nolan's notion to want to tell a story out of linear kind of
it's never in order.
But I was like, that this is not where that's needed. Do you know what I mean? Like, if there's go back forward, but there's a bit by then, and because it's 3 hours, I was like, wait, what's this again? What's the thing? And do you know what I mean? There was too many kind of, and I'm not trying to say, like, I can be a dumbass, but I've watched films my whole life. I've been a cinephile my whole life into kind of things. Like,
did you say
cinephile?
I was just double checking.
It's always been a weird word. It's also like when I used to say I'm a thespian when I was going to act it. It's like, you know, a cinephile thespian. You know what I mean?
Like, what? It's like, do we need to cancel this podcast?
Yeah. But I don't say that.
Could they have split it into 2 parts?
I don't know. No, I disagree. I just
don't think
feel
it was enough for 2 parts.
Yeah,
no.
I think.
Sorry, just to
So I'm just saying it. I feel it was bloated. That's it. I don't feel there was enough.
Too many lingering kind of things, and you know, for all the kind of some of the scenes are amazing, but I don't think it really warranted to have to be seen on big screen for what it is. I love some of Christopher Nolan's cinematography and that, and I love some of the way he has his audio and that. I really do. And there's some of it was great, and then I was just like, I'm not feeling it. I don't need this. And yeah, if you're really into the story of that man, then it is. But to me, I'm more interested in the whole concept of a nuclear bomb, the 8-8 bomb, what it brings on about assured destruction by the whole world and all that kind of thing. The whole idea I am death rather than the actual man.
I don't know, you're kind of referencing what I was expecting a wee bit there, because when they were talked about what had happened, I think it was in the courtroom, I can't remember clearly, they were saying of all the different things that happened after a nuclear blast and people like fucking vaporized and shit, which they didn't actually say, but it was about radiation poisoning and things and everything that happened after it. I felt we were going to get a wee bit more shock value there.
Aye.
And there was nothing. I felt we were building up to it, and I thought we were going to get like these
We didn't get a
horrific
real
stories.
nuclear bomb. We didn't get anybody. I thought we were going to see the people, the shadows and the wall.
That's what I was missing. It was like the famous shadows.
Then is that Christopher Nolan highlighting all the damage when all we needed to show was Cillian Murphy's reaction and Oppenheimer's reaction for me, because his face told the story. And the fact that he couldn't look at it and have to live with the fact that he's caused it, you know, I thought that was quite a good way. I wouldn't want to see people melting and like.
I didn't want to see it. I thought we were going to get a wee more glimpses.
But like at the test, don't get me wrong, I think that was an amazing scene. See at the test, and then because I was thinking, how are they going to do the nuke? All as audience members, I've seen nukes played out a million times, the CGI and big things, and a million of them going off in different films and all that. How are you going to put, which in actual kind of like compared to nukes we have going on in other films, quite a small A-bomb, do you know what I mean? How are we going to show that so eventful and have just the absolute silence and then just a close-up of it and Cillian Murphy's reaction and all that? I did think that was amazing.
Yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed that part.
That was cinema. That was amazing. That was just
the
that
breathing.
Yeah,
I
that
was
made
like,
me feel. Maybe that's why I like being at seeing it at the cinema. That was good. That made me really, really into it. But then that's just the test, right? That's just the first time they've seen it work, right? I thought that, especially when you're seeing all the when he started releasing it, I thought we were going to get a wee bit kind of Sarah Connor for Terminator 2. I thought we were going to see,
the fence,
and I know Christopher Nolan hates CGI, which I like him a bit, but CGI can be used in tandem. It doesn't need to just be put to the side altogether.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to get something that made us go, fuck, that's really the absolute power of the gods there. Whereas we never really got that.
Yeah, I do kind of agree. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, sorry.
No, I kind of disagree on that point. I wouldn't want
Good,
to.
that's
I go
Yeah.
fuck yourself.
And I
I feel
was-
shit.
And I'm the asshole.
2 weeks in.
And I'll be
weeks
cancelled
he's
from
like,
now.
fucking hate
fucking
you. Oh, I
hate
screwed up.
But no, I think seeing his reaction and seeing all the shots that were done in camera, as
Yeah.
you said, he likes doing like all the kind of fire building on top of each other and just that. Seeing that was just like wow. But for me, like I'm a huge fan of Nolan and all of his work. You know, I'm a bit of a. I give him a little bit more leeway than I would certain directors. I know that a lot of people have complaints, and not everybody's a fan. But for me, I just love going to see a Christopher Nolan movie.
Oh, don't we all?
I do, apart from Tenet, I didn't like Tenet at all. No matter what, went to see it with my mother, who's also writing a film. That's the reason I am. She got me and everything. And then I was just watching, like, what? And they both, she loves time travel, everything about that. So yeah, I love all the intricacies. Have you all seen the film Primer? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It was a Channel 4 film that. No, massive.
Was that actually made by Channel 4? Aye, that. Have you not heard of this film?
No, I
It's
don't
I've got it on DVD. I'll give it.
It's
It's
excellent.
probably quite
Maybe-
hard to get. It's a wee bit old now.
That's something we could do. Maybe anybody in the comments, if you could do it. Is it these kind of less known but really, really impactful kind of cool sci-fi films and stuff like that that have been done with a lot of money but really cool kind of, there's Convergence, there's Primer, there's a few of them that are like this. But Primer's a time travel film, but a kind of realistic one, if you know what I mean. It's
Is it Australian? Was that the amount? Am I remembering it off? Because it was a while.
I think
It's Australian guys.
I think it might be.
I can't remember.
I've seen it a couple
It's
of
been.
times
That's what I mean.
now,
It's
but
been.
I'm trying to remember.
It's genuinely been about 10 years.
I'm going to try and
It is.
Google it.
Just
Primer,
in
it's just
case.
giving me fucking makeup.
PR.
Oh well, that leads us to our sponsor. I wish if anyone makeup artists were sponsors or makeup in general.
I mean, I'll try something with some makeup. I'll get
Yeah,
some eyeliner on or something like that.
It's
I'll
on,
get some
it's
Black
on
Nova
Amazon
or-
apparently.
Oh, okay.
I'm just trying to see the poster because
It's like two guys with like shirts and like a
No, I think
tie
the
on.
posters. Is it not the wires coming out of the word primer?
no, I've definitely not
maybe.
seen that.
But the whole
it
thing
that?
is two guys with shirts on.
No, that's that's awful. That's it. That one there.
This one.
Yeah, that's
No,
that's the poster.
I've
The
definitely not seen
wires.
Oh shit! I've just clicked off it.
Primer's an absolutely fantastic film, but
But
another one.
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
That is it. That
Please,
is it.
please watch. Honestly, it's excellent. Another time travel movie where we're on that subject quickly. Predestination.
Yes. On you go, but I think
Ethan Hawke.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Sarah Snook, who was in Succession.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
This is, and I said this. It's one of the first time travel movies that I ever watched and thought, "Fuck, they've answered everything." Because you know, time travel movies are always
Always
like
get a-
always be offshoots. I was like, oh, you didn't really quite get that right. It's like the perfect, like you know, the grandfather paradox, where everything.
Yeah.
It's like you kill your grandfather, therefore you're born. It's like that. That film is a symbol of that film. It's like a
Yeah.
constant loop, and I'm like, utter genius.
That is a hard thing to pull off with it. That is.
Yeah.
But you find these with these cast small
Again,
films.
got it on DVD if you want.
Well, I think we should have a night list. Maybe even put what to have these. Maybe so it's
Oh,
not
let's
all
have a
just-
sleepover.
Yeah.
One more, Convergence, one of the best multiverse films I've ever seen, and it's I think that's Australian, right? And it's done very, very. No, sorry, that's not Australian. What am I talking about? That's a low budget, still LA
Oh,
film.
got the Aussies tonight.
Uh,
Yeah.
well, but it's a bunch of people sitting about having a dinner party, right? And there's all different, problems they've got with each other, different couples and stuff like that. A comic goes over, they're talking about it, and something weird happens. They go out and they realise the house across from them is basically an exact replica of them and people in it, and it's like this kind of boom, 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 boom of. I don't want to ruin it, but
Don't
like,
say it because I've got a stoner.
it's awesome.
Genuinely,
It's-
this sounds
No,
exactly up
it's
my street.
awesome. It's so awesome. I've watched it a few times because and it's got. I don't want to ruin anything, but it's also got the guy from Buffy in it, and he plays basically
Spike?
himself. No, Xander.
Yeah.
But see in real life how he became like an alcoholic and like that in the show he plays out of a guy who used to be in a famous TV show but it's now an alcoholic and stuff like that. Like, it's like you really done him like that.
Yeah.
Like, but
Say did that boy dirty. Never do.
but he's brilliant in it.
Yeah.
He's really good. And all their secrets unraveling, blah 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 blah, over this dinner party. That's this really weird thing about how.
I don't wait.
Okay, no,
I don't stuff.
But it's awesome
Because I'm the worst for like people say wee things.
Yeah.
Does anyone do that? Like someone says like a teeny wee thing, and I'm
you
like,
work out the rest of
I've
the
already
film.
got that.
Yeah.
So like,
I'll say
honestly,
nothing.
we can talk up on the next episode. I'll hopefully have watched it if I can catch up.
You get it. It's on Prime and all that. You get it.
Okay.
I'll say that it's on. I've watched
Definitely,
it
I'm
once,
definitely going to
it's
watch it. But yeah, that's our homework. So there you go. And homework if you've watched this episode, because
Please
next
do.
episode you're going to see us talking hopefully about Prime and conversions.
And also, have you ever seen the film Upgrade?
Yes.
Fucking
Yeah, that's
love that
great.
That
movie.
film,
That's
man, that is
great.
great. The
That-
fighting in that is so cool.
That actor is also in another great movie called The Invitation, which is really, really good as well. You need to watch it.
think
I don't know who's his name.
I do like that
he was in the
actor.
OC.
Yes,
It's a shame he gets called discount Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy,
Aye,
yeah.
aye,
Something
aye.
He's in
green.
Previous as well.
it's Thomas something Green. Oh,
No.
damn, I'm going to be red.
I know. This is we should probably do a research first. But we don't
Yeah, no, we don't.
We did our research on
Yeah.
show.
Doesn't matter.
Year 2018. It's something Green. I'm
Marshall
totally.
Green, something.
That's it. Logan Marshall Green.
Logan Marshall
Logan Marshall get just all the names.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, just
I mean,
all.
I'm
Logan.
talking-
Ironically, we said it. Oh no, it's
I'm
not.
wanting to
Logan.
talk. I'm
I
Ryan
was gonna
John
say
Morning,
Wolverine,
and
it's
I've seen somebody I had time for having
know.
3 names, but
He would be a good Wolverine by now.
He
I'm just calling it now.
He would. Oh, can we also talk about who you called out for Batman, which I thought was amazing?
Oh, Josh Harnett.
Yeah, I was
Josh
going to make
Hartnett.
I was going to make a wee bit of build up to that, but
Oh, fucking hell.
but
I'm new. I'm new.
I'm a fan of Supernatural show, but after especially the boys, I think how the shit you say his name, but it's the other one's the hard name to say. Jensen Ackles. I think he made a good Batman, man.
and he's
can-
too
No.
boyish.
No.
And he's
For
got
me,
he's a baby
I
boy.
hate
Like,
that you're right. You just
Yeah,
said
he's
that,
a bit
and I like,
boyish.
because I hate.
Yeah.
I loved the
like,
first 3 seasons of Supernatural, and Dean was my
first
guy.
First
Dean
five
was my
are the best,
guy.
man.
we discussed this. We had discussed this.
We
Actually.
have, but as Batman, no, not unless it's a very low caliber TV version.
So
you know.
obviously in Oppenheimer, like Josh Harnett's in Oppenheimer, and it was he just randomly went over to me. He's like, Josh Harnett for Batman. I was like,
Look big.
the boy's big, right? He's got a fucking big jaw, man. It looks like perfect for that fucking.
You know what,
mask.
man? I'm thinking about it. I just seen it
But
last
it was
night. I'm
that-
thinking that I could see that, but with a different haircut and the that could have been a 1940s Bruce Wayne. To be honest,
That's what I was getting
This is what we kind of brought this up. Wish you were Ryan.
And also-
Could have had
I
this
know.
up.
No, imagine not being there after.
We could have had this conversation already.
Could
I
have.
know.
Instead,
you know, now
instead you're getting your dick sucked.
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes it has to happen.
So
you know what I mean?
we're at what, like 20 minutes in, it went dark.
Yeah, 20
Yeah,
minutes.
it's 20 minutes
okay.
a long time before it's dark. Usually it's dark in the first 3. I'm just trying to get that YouTube algorithms. We don't need too dark.
Yeah.
In the
Also
first
seen the
5.
Black Mirror episode that Josh Hartnett was in with Aaron Paul. He's got range, man.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like he can play that
Fucking,
brooding.
like-
He could play Bruce Wayne. He could play Batman because he's got that brooding character
Yeah.
that he plays in that Black Mirror
I'm
episode.
sold actually.
Yeah,
man.
he's
I do
such a-
think that would
Yeah,
be cool.
he's
physical.
huge. He's a big boy.
He's got a
isn't he?
lot of size since he's always a really tall guy, but I've
Yeah.
seen him and stuff before. He was more lean. He looked like a shit brick house or a brick shit house in Oppenheimer. He looked really kind of thick, man. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like not his ass, but
Yeah.
like his arms and shit. No homo, but like he'd like, do you know what I mean?
Looked
He could
thick.
do he looked like he could give quite a good handshake. Do you know what I mean?
I was immediately going, are you going to say hand job there?
Well, you know, potato. But
Apparently he was one of Christopher Nolan's
was.
choices for Batman Begins.
And yeah,
And I wonder if that's why he's in Oppenheimer, because I think
he's also wanted to work with him before he went rogue and kind of came off.
Yeah.
The,
you know,
off
it's
everything.
weird that he's mentioned Batman about Oppenheimer, because seeing some of the scenes in Oppenheimer when I was watching it, I was kind of thinking, man, I wish I was watching a new Batman with Christopher Nolan. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I was even thinking, that's why that came in my head so quick, like maybe a 1940s Batman. Do you know what I mean? Like, and because when the kind of epic music was coming in and Cillian Murphy had the hat and whatnot, I was just like, oh, if this was like another Batman, man, that would be cool.
But if Hartnett did do it, like we looked at the age afterwards in the pub, we were talking about it. He's 45.
45. 45, 48.
See, I'm okay with that, but I think Batman should be older. Batman,
Yeah.
I don't like a young Batman.
No.
It doesn't
But
make sense.
we're literally getting Batman Bold and the Brave. It's who's coming. That's literally lined up as one of the next films, which is when he has his son.
Right.
So Batman has to be in his 50s. Has to be.
But then he's just going to be a bit part in the fucking
I'm not
teenage
into it.
saga of Damian.
But it's
probably not
no,
even
that's
Damian
not what
Wayne.
you've read the comic.
No.
It's not. But it's both of them. I won't say what it is because it's.
But okay, but I
It's
just
a
watched.
really
I know we
interesting
talked
story,
about
but
it
it's
before,
just
I
as much for him.
watched The Flash last night, right? And do you know what I mean? You know, I was watching it, and there's so many points. I'm just thinking, why not just do Flash Paradox? Why not just do it? Why not do what it could have been?
Well, the actual Flashpoint, like the whole
Flashpoint
story.
Paradox. Sorry,
Yeah.
yeah. Why not do that? When
I was gutted because I thought we were going to get because obviously Snyder set up a beautiful scene with Batman, and we had Maggie from Walking Dead and Thingy from Walking Dead. Actually, I didn't realize that in my head there. Plays Negan.
Jeffrey.
This is what I was saying.
Dean Morgan.
Yeah, Jeffrey
Cool cat.
Yeah, so Jeffrey
Jeffrey
Dean Morgan
Morgan.
played
That was
Thomas
set up
Wayne,
at the beginning, When I
and
seen
Martha
it-
Wayne was Lauren
Conrad.
Conrad. How
Was it
c-
Conrad? Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
so.
but see, when I seen
How
that
cute would
way
that have
back
been?
when, I was like, "Oh, we're gonna get think maybe
Can you imagine?
red-eyed nutcase Batman?"
Yeah.
But it's like as much. And I know Flash is an old news. I'm not right about, but as much as I love the old Batman, it's one I grew up with, the '90s with Michael Keaton and stuff like that. I'm watching this last night and I'm like, it doesn't quite work because it doesn't make sense. Why have they fell into a '90s? Why have they fell into his thing, mate? And also, I know I'm always talking about this, right? But there's a bit where he's get almost his top off in the date with Ezra Miller too, and I'm like, his arm is like that, dude. And I'm like, that's not Batman. And what the hell is the thing with the beginning when Ezra Miller and his thing, and he looks like he's got really weird pecs, really weird, and then they take his top off, and he's just like a normal build. I'm like, it was freaking me out, man. There's so many things in that film, but the Batman thing didn't work, and I was just thinking,
Yeah.
why not do Jeffrey Dean Morgan
It could
being
have been.
red-eyed
It
Batman?
could have been amazing.
Also, just have like the 40s Batman as a standalone movie, but also Superman Legacy. I'd love that to be set in the original time of Superman as well. Go back and do it.
Or even that kind of nondescript thing they had in that Superman animation and the Batman animation. It never quite said, this is 1940s, this is 1950s. It just was vaguely, do you know what I mean? Like the kind of old style cars, the old kind of thing, but they never come out and said this
Yeah.
is like precisely like an old thing. Have that vague Metropolis, have that vague
But you
Gotham
didn't have
City.
to. I mean, like any of the Tim Burton stuff, you don't know. You don't know when you're.
No.
There's never. We don't care about year. It's just Gotham.
But
I think
then
it
you
would
can
be
play
amazing.
about with the
Yeah.
fantasy and the architecture and the kind of feel of the place rather than another New York or Glasgow. Like
So
with,
pushing into that topic, we're obviously a massive discussion over what's happening with the entire DCU in general. Is it called DCU? Who knows? Because James Gunn's in charge of it just now, but James Gunn's job looks a little bit on the line, considering the Flash lost so much money. I mean, I think it was 212 million. Is
is that
taken?
James Gunn's fault though?
It wasn't.
Whoa, no, that's not his fault. But what I'm saying, like the whole entire DCU is in the line. 212 million on a 200 million pound budget for the Flash.
And that was the one they thought was going to kill it because
Exactly. But what I'm leading into is it was officially one of the biggest money losers for DC. So it's lost them a lot of money. So the track opening was 50 to 60 something million was the opening, and it didn't do anywhere near that. Now, James Gunn has Blue Beetle on the way, which is his first piece of DC that is connected to the entire DCU. This is his universe that he's starting, which is Zolo Martinez, I think his name is. XOLO, I think.
Is this not an overshoot then? This is just
No.
this is the first
So
one.
Blue Beetle
really?
is part of this new world which James Gunn is creating, but it's tracking to make 12 to 15 million on its opening weekend. So the reason that I brought it up at the start is James Gunn's job is fundamentally on the line because it looks like there might be a
But he's not
complete
directing this, right? He's just behind
No,
it.
he's just behind it. He is behind the whole DC universe.
Wow, I seen that trailer and I actually thought it looked quite fun, but I know that I can kind of, because I was watching it, I was thinking there's a very kind of early 2000s feel of the, like, and it's not what you can do anymore with a superhero film. In some ways, I kind of want to go back then when it was simpler and it wasn't, the message and all that, but you can't have it feeling you need to tell better stories.
So this is my question to you in this whole situation. Are we better just having DC drop the DCU and continue with Elseworld stories?
yes, I don't want a DCU. I don't want an MCU. I don't want all these intertwining stories. I just want standalone movies that are one and done. You can change the actor for characters and do whatever you want with it. It doesn't need to, like Robert Pattinson's got his Batman out. Let him do that, right? But also have another Batman movie that is just like, so you get another actor in, like Josh Harnett, and set it in the 40s, and just put it out and make it, give the directors the chance to make a movie they want to do and step back. That's the way to do it, because we're all fed up with superhero movies now because we're getting them every week, it seems. And it's just not, like, that's why they're bombing at the box office, because people are going against it.
I do agree, right? And I do agree, and I think that's kind of what has to happen, and we need to tell these, because I've said before, me growing up, I never, even comic books had this problem, and because me, when I started, I've always loved the superhero story and that, but when I started like 1920, not 1920, when I was 19 or 20.
Where is you, Ryan?
I'm an old vampire, man. But I started getting that. I was saying to my friend Harrison, I was like, man, how am I going to jump into this? Do you know what I mean? Because there's so many. How do I jump in here when the train's already going? Do you know what I mean? Because the last time I'd read comics before that, I was about 8 years old. And even then, I would buy Aliens comics and Resident Evil comics and stuff because they were contained stories and not a Marvel thing I had to jump in and not understand what's been going on for 5 years. I think Marvel films are kind of at that bit. And I do think elsewhere, kind of singular stories is the way to go, like graphic novels, but in film form, right?
Yes.
But there is one thing I think we've all been robbed of and we've never really had, and that's that superhero group like the Avengers or the Justice League and stuff like that, that is a solid group that everybody can, for a good amount of years, can get around with these mates, and seeing them actually do superhero work, like seeing them actually build up nemesis that you know they've had back and like the cartoons we grew up and stuff, like see them actually have to beat you know, criminal gangs and that, and then, you know, aliens and then this and that, and actually feel that they are protecting the world, not just that they're responding to something they've either fucked up, like Iron Man's most films, or, do you know what I mean? Because if you think about it, there's never, apart from like the beginning, I think I said this before, but the beginning of Avengers 2, Age of Ultron, we see a wee clip of them just going out doing stuff, never really felt like the Avengers or Justice League were actually a force over the world that had like their place, and it just felt like they interacted with a few things then fucked off. It's a problem I have with Christopher Nolan's Batmans as well, is that he was, what did he really do? He done Batman Begins, then he was right into the Joker right away because the card's given at the end. He literally goes straight into that like that week, and then disappears for 8 years, and then does Batman 3.
What did he do in those 8 years?
But it's like they say that, so it's like, so really his whole Batman career was a few months if you really add it up. And I feel the same with the Avengers ones. It's like, and I know it's difficult because it's not an episode TV content, maybe that's what they need to do, but I think feeling that kind of more like you've got your heroes here and you can go and watch them beat bad guys every week or every film or whatever, I think we're robbed of that. There's not, you know what I mean?
I think with Nolan's trilogy, to defend that, I know I'm going on about Nolan again, but
right.
like, it's a trilogy.
Put your
you know what I mean?
down.
I know.
It's getting in the way of...
It's knocking the microphone. I wish. But that was a trilogy. They don't have all this time to be like, what has Batman been doing his whole career? Because we would still be having Batman
Oh, God,
films now. So, but that's where you can explore. A lot of these films are pretty much like, right, how do we make the superhero? What's his journey to become a superhero? But when he is a superhero, what does he do?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of my point. It's like, so what's his day-to-day? You see it sometimes maybe Spider-Man and stuff, you get that feeling of him actually going about, especially in the Sam Raimi films, you get that feeling he's out every day, blah, blah, blah. I couldn't make
But do you want to have Batman fucking stop some guy robbing a newsagent every 2 weeks?
No, but I
mean,
would like
stealing
to
a couple
feel,
of comics, he's like, wait, no, mate.
but I would like to feel he had a rogues gallery. I would like to feel that he'd been through stuff and not just Batfleck where they said, oh, by the way, there's all that stuff he's done, but you never
even
really
when
see
they
it.
do, like, they do rogues galleries, like when they tried to do it with Spider-Man 3, there was fans were complaining, saying it was too complicated, there's too many people in it.
I think that's more because Sam Raimi, and then they added in Venom because the studio wanted to make Venom and it was a bit of a clusterfuck. I think three full villains is hard to juggle.
But you want a rogues gallery?
But I want the feeling
I'm playing devil's advocate here. I'm not
I
being a
get what you're
dick.
saying, and that's why I say I know it's hard to do in films. It's not a TV show that's shot every week, right? But I just mean that feeling of, right, how many Avengers films are at now? I know if you count, you know, we're at 5 or something if you count everything, but
I'm going to say not enough.
well, that's kind of
my argument.
But that's
I think
kind of my point, right? I would have liked the feeling of these are our group. And they've fought this guy so that when somebody comes back around, it's like, oh, him again, or blah, blah, blah. And you're feeling that they're actually actively protecting the world and not just fixing their own problems.
But here's the thing: is like the MCU, like especially, is a fucking mess.
Right? No, it is.
MCU is an absolute fucking riot of. We've got a giant fucking massive weird fucking thing hanging out the ocean with its arm up there. I mean, you may as well chuck that in with.
That's my point. I hate inconsistency.
With fucking Shang-Chi's bracelets.
Yeah.
And fucking Captain Marvel's fucking rings. And, do you know what I mean? It's like, not Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, or whatever they're
No.
the
This is what I hate. Aye, sorry, you go.
It feels like, right, we've got a Shang-Chi, right, we need a villain to go with that story, and then it's one and done.
Aye.
You know, make a villain villainous and have him in multiple movies. Like what they're trying to go with Kang.
What they done with Thanos, man?
They made Thanos a total G.
This is what I mean, but this is why I used to credit Marvel for what I discredit them for now. I used to say to people who would be like, oh, I don't like all that Marvel stuff. I see like 18 films, connecting them all together, blah, blah. Even if a few of the films don't like, but all are good films in their own right, that connect together, do this, blah, blah, blah. Set up the bad guy, that then you get the payoff. That was something I thought was a massive achievement.
I agree. I'm going to play devil's advocate again
Please do.
here and call both of you out. In the
Put him up, eh?
Are you dancing?
Dancing if you are. I can't put us on a fist
I'm
up
not
though, hit
dancing,
the
I'm
mic,
winching. No, but in the first time we sat here and we talked about this, I asked one problem, and I'm going to go back to it. Just watch. It's a good way to get you to go back and watch the episode.
Go back.
I asked what I'd said. One of the first questions that I said when we sat on the sofa was, are we the problem when it comes to comic book movies? Is
remember you saying
your
that.
generic fan the problem when it comes to white movies? And it's taken me like obviously 7 weeks to get an answer for this myself. And I think, fuck yes. I think we are the issue. Because if you go away and say that you don't like a movie, if you go away and say you don't like a movie, loads of people, it's like, I work in hospitality, and there's a famous thing in hospitality which states that if someone doesn't have a good time in a restaurant, they go away and tell 10 to 20 people who don't have a good time. If they had a great time in a restaurant, they tell one.
Yeah.
Because negativity spreads a lot faster. So when you don't like a movie or there's something wrong with a movie, you walk out and you tell 10, 20 people because you specifically didn't agree with something. And look at our opinions just now on a movie.
No, I don't think
Whereas all these movies, right, let me give it a point out, all these movies are so different and so subjective. We sit here, and especially on when Geekified, the old stuff we used to do, we were fucking bitchy ass moaners, man.
That's why I stopped doing it. If I remember, I said that.
Yeah,
to you,
because
'cause
that's
didn't
what I
want to
mean.
come on all the time and
We're
just
coming on and we're moaning like fuck and saying, oh, I hate this, and I don't like Wonder Woman, and I don't like this, and I don't like that. It wasn't. Why are we not just going to watch a fucking movie about some cunt that flies in the sky and going, I enjoyed it, it was okay.
But that's the
But
thing.
we're
is-
leaving and go, it didn't, sorry, Superman didn't have the right shade of yellow on his top. Cape was
make-
too long.
I think we're spoiled.
It's
and you do make
bullshit. We're spoiled. I think that's
we
the
are
fucking
spoiled and you do
problem.
but what I mean is, but sometimes I look at what I'm saying is I look back at the track and I go, all these films, and sometimes people go, I'm sick of superhero films, and I look back and go, what one though is an actual superhero film? Like, do you know what I mean? Like a superhero gets his hero, goes and fights bad guys and does it. I'm like, they're all superheroes in them, but there's not a lot of them that feel like how many of them actually can you say who are the Avengers?
Yeah.
Like who are the Avengers?
But I think
but I know what you're saying. You completely hit the nail on the head there, right? I think you're completely right, and I think it's not so much a problem with fans like us, right? Because I think
it is.
no,
Obviously,
but
I think
let
it
me
is.
finish because it is, but just it's the outlet, right? Is fans like us being able to complain and stuff like that? I think is something that we would have done since day one. In the 80s, people would like us would have geeked around and sat and complained about why the He-Man film wasn't the exact same stuff, right? But we'd have done it in our fucking basement or in our fucking in our room together having a beer. The problem is now is people having an online voice, not just one, not just two, but hundreds of thousands at the one time, agreeing with each other and saying blah blah blah, I don't like this, and then producers going to directors and saying you need to change this shit for this, for blah blah blah, because the online presence says they don't like that, the online presence says they don't like this, so fucking change it because factor says, and it's like that's the problem, telling artists how they should make art for the masses rather than for what they think is good art. Look at like Sam Raimi. If somebody had told this Evil Dead film that came out, when he first made his, if he'd explained it out and they had the same kind of stipulations, but he'd never got to make it. Do you know what I mean? But it's got a following all these years later. It's a kind of weird outlet, but it's one that came in my head. That Sam Raimi.
It's correct. It's the same analysis.
But I think when you tell directors, there's a weird thing between. Oh damn. a director like Taika Waititi, I think, getting too much free reign when they're already popular and famous, to a director who's got a passion project, really want to make their stake. So when you say about the Elseworlds and stuff, I think that'd be great for young directors to make something they're really passionate about and stuff like that. And I love that. But
this is where people like Kevin Feige have to be like an overlord of it, and they have to kind of rein it in to a certain degree where everything has to be similar to a point. When you're talking about something like like DC's Elseworlds movies, like Joker and stuff, who would have thought that movie was going to become $1 billion movie on such a small budget?
But is that the case that you were talking about earlier, where one person tells that person, then that person tells 10 people? That happened with Maverick as well. Everybody was coming to cinemas. And Maverick is a great movie, but it was so popular, and it's like, because people were telling other people it was good, they were going to see it.
But my point is like people, because comic books and what we're expecting from comic books, because we were spoiled was a perfect word with things like the Nolan's trilogy.
Yes.
We got something that hit the nail on the head exactly. But
there's
then
still a complaint about that there wasn't Batman enough. Do you know what I mean? And then when we get Ben Affleck's Batman when it's a grey suit, everybody went, "Oh, this is what we want," but it's no this enough. I know exactly what you mean.
Everybody is greeting and moaning, and I think it's about, and I'm going to say this to the camera, I think it's about time we shut the fuck up and go and see a movie, and even if it's not perfect for you, don't go away and home and whine about it like a little bitch.
We'll know the podcast otherwise.
I know.
Fuck.
I'm wanting to live in like a peace and wonderful land.
But the thing is, hold on, I think you're right to a point.
Yeah.
Right? Because being what you're saying is completely right. Because the reason I think it's right is I think fans are always allowed to be critics of the stuff they love, right? The point now is that when you've got people who in Hollywood like go about message boards, blah blah, read what's trending, and they go back to the producers and say this is what it is, and the producers go back to the director and say change it, right? Point. I don't know how the fuck to say that. Point in case. Thank you. Suicide Squad, the first one.
Yes.
Right, there was a whole thing about that when that started coming out, and David Anders, I think it is, still argues his point to this day that he wants his Snyder Cut version, his Anders cut.
David Ayer.
Right? Yeah. Because he had a vision for Suicide Squad. It was much darker, much kind of thing and all that, and it was...
I think he's going to get it. I don't know if you've heard the last couple of months.
There's no reason why he
shouldn't. The trailer that totally swiped how the film was made.
Yeah, they changed it to... I think we talked about this trailer. I said it's one of the best trailers there is.
But the thing is, the trailer, at first, when there was something in the trailer came out and it was showing what it was as kind of dark film, right? It didn't go well received. There was a film that came out at the same time, it was Guardians, right? That all its kind of colours and everything, and all the like using music that everybody knows to dance along to it, right?
I know exactly what it is now.
Advertisement company who had nothing to do with the actual film but were handed the rights to do the trailer.
Trailer Park. That's
made this trailer that made it look all this wacky colours, neon, blah blah blah, Eminem, all this kind of stuff, right? Everyone went, that looks amazing. I want to see that. That looks amazing. The producers looked at the film they had and said, that isn't that film. Go back and change it. To David, and he's like, well, but that's not my film. My film's a dark exploration of these fucking villains being heroes for a day. Yeah. That's not the film. Go and add Eminem. Go and add Pink. Go and add Pink. Go and change it. And Eminem get added. I love Eminem. That song did not fit.
That song was the song that was in that trailer, which became.
Oh yeah.
The specific trailer was Queen.
Yeah, it was. I mean, but what I mean is when they went back and added the Eminem bit to Harley Quinn getting changed, they tried to retroactively make the film a Guardians type joke along when David Anderson's first cut was this dark film, right? Yeah. Right about then is when I was like, fans are having too much to say in what's happening with films, because no offence to everything, but as I know I'm being kind of going back and forth here, but people like Christopher Nolan, even we can criticise them, are there for a reason, because they understand film, they understand the cinematography, they understand sometimes something you might not like, but you'll walk away from. I mean, people don't like to see their favourite character die, but sometimes it makes the story better, that kind of thing. But these days, it's like, if there's enough people that say, I don't like this, the producers will hear that and go tell the director to change it during filming. So that's why I agree with you, that we need to shut up and stop bitching that way.
Just
so that's
let people tell a story.
They're always granted a right to complain about bad films.
Also, was that the reason The Flash bombed? Because people were too concerned about what was going on with Ezra Miller?
I don't think like so.
No.
I've always
No,
said
maybe-
there's
I don't know,
there's
but-
an echo. Or I think it's kind of somewhere in the middle, possibly, because no one really truly knows. Like no one, you can't answer it. There's an echo chamber of these people who voice themselves and it becomes really big online. But is it really a majority? No, it's not a majority. And this is where I'm saying, leading back to my point. What I was saying, it was like I think word of mouth is always the strongest marketing tool you can possibly have.
100%.
So when someone walks out and goes, "I didn't like the film because this." And then that gets to the next person. It's like that's it. Then it's just a chain of shit.
Of course, but that's either positive or negative. You can have that being
But
a
it's
good...
not. That's the negative is stronger than the positive. That's the problem.
Well, yes, it is in the way of today of like making how much even ourselves, like you said earlier.
I'm
about
speaking.
setting time,
I'm talking word of mouth.
Well-
This has been a hospitality factor for
but now we have YouTube videos.
40, 50 years, right? But I'm saying like you've got YouTube videos, you've got TikTok, you've got all these things, but especially hospitality, I've analysed this for decades. It's a fact. If you have a bad experience, you talk about it fourfold.
People love to complain. I'll tell you, me and the friends I grew up with, there's one sentence you always hear when you know somebody's going to gossip or going to tell you something bad about somebody. Wait till you hear this.
yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, what's he done? Like, oh.
Who is it? Who is
But
it?
people don't want to say, oh, that guy's doing really good by the way. Like, well,
Nobody talks
even
about-
amongst friends, I know it's really toxic. People do love to complain. They do love to. Even myself, how many times, will you watch a video by a guy on YouTube or something that someone complains about them, or will you watch a video of somebody going, this is really cool? Do you know what I mean? It's much more interesting to fucking shit in something. I agree with that. Hospitality, I think it ties in. But I think still is I think it's complicated because today we are getting fed so much shite that we are entitled to complain about it. Like when there's literally like simple bar stuff that they can't do anymore. And it's like, how can you not write a coherent sentence? How can you not make something look real anymore? How is stuff 15 years ago? How are we watching The Flash? Sorry, again, I watched the last night, and the scenes for Man of Steel that look better in Man of Steel 10 years ago than they look now. Like that is stuff you can complain about.
That's a genuine question that I have. Like, I'm not dissing. I'm dissing The Flash. It was about shite a lot of it, but I'm not dissing it because it's like they've done it and they made it look weird. And I know that they said they made it look weird, but like I said this in the, last week's pod, 2 weeks ago. Andrew Muschietti, the director, basically said that they tried to warp certain bits of it. Bullshit, because I said this in an episode as well, because the whole bit where you see Henry Cavill and his face is like fucking Scorpion King shit going on. So they've just not spent the money on it. That's
Can I be
happened.
devil's advocate about that?
Of course, yeah.
I actually, because I was aware of this before I started watching it, right, I was like, where's going to be the bad CGI, right? Right away, so I agree and disagree, because there's bits, he's using that as a cover, because there's bits where, and I was watching, I could pause it and stuff, right? And I was watching it where, and there's bits...
How are you watching it at home?
Oh, just because I'm a magic man, I get magic glasses to just show me when paedophiles make a film, and I can like Ezra Miller just shut up a while later.
Sorry.
Why would I have those glasses? That's pure weird glasses to have, right? It's called hunting glasses. But the thing is there's bits in it that I was like, that's just meant to be a normal face of Ezra Miller standing next to Ezra Miller, and that looked like something at the Ring for a second. And I was like, whoa, that's not meant to be. The bit the director I think's talking about is you see when they're doing the kind of time travel stuff.
Yes.
And you see everything, and I was
And,
like, surely that can't be so bad on purpose. And I realised, I think I know what the director's trying to say there, is because there's even bits where they're in the time travel kind of bit, and then he puts his head through it, and everything goes back to normal again. And I'm like, all right, so they were trying to make that kind of warped thing, but it looks shit.
Yeah.
It looks like a PS2 game, like literally a PS2 game. I was like that.
Because I backed it up. Like I did say, like I do understand where he's coming from, but then the more I thought about it, the more I seen like there was a bit with the babies, which is slagged a lot.
But that's meant to be real babies, and then.
So it just didn't work because
and then there's a bit with her. I don't know. I keep pointing this out. It's just because I come from a background of fucking health and fitness and physiology of the body and that. Ezra Miller is standing and his pecs came out here and he's got these weird, really fucking thick abs.
what naked.
No, but he's wearing the thin tight the suit that's meant to be on him, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, are they doing the Batman thing where it's like the abs are on the suit? Do you know what I
Maybe
mean?
like CGI some nipples on him
But
as
then
well.
you see him breathing and the abs contract and expand with him, and I was like, no, so they're maybe his abs, and that's maybe his chest, and I was like, and then later in the film they have his top off, and I was like, but that's
So wait, sorry, I'm trying to understand. Like I can't remember this. Did they CGI the suit on top of the abs and as he's breathing? Is
So
that what
no,
they've
like,
done?
so
Ryan's watching the Flash.
You guys watching The Flash, yeah?
But basically, all through the film, from the beginning
so-
to the end,
yeah.
his body composition looks different through it all, right? And there's one scene closer to the beginning when he's still the Flash, before he loses his pills, not spoiler, whatever. And he's like,
It's all right. Nobody's watching it. Literally,
There's literally
nobody's
a bit
watching
where
it.
he's got this weird build where he can't, his arms look slimmer, but his chest comes out like this. Then he's got a bit of fixed up, but his abs are like boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, okay, if it's a rubber suit, you know, it's a rubber
Fine,
suit.
it's a
But
rubber
then
suit.
you can see it contract, and then later on in it, it's slimmer again. And I'm like, could you not mark like how you're going to make his body look? And then later on in it, they take his top off to do the experiment with him.
Yeah.
And he's got a build that hasn't been in the gym and fucking is all right, but just no like
Got
no.
this, a little bit
But
of
it's
find that
flat.
funny,
We
though.
double A's.
No, but he's got. But the thing is how are you putting on a suit that is rippling abs coming through rubber? Because they expressly say in the film that the suit's rubber and that. That just there's no consistency. Do you know what I mean? It is, and they do the same with Michael Keaton. He's flipping about, kicking mine. He looks big in the suit, and then there's a bit. And I'm just like, as a director, if you know your actor hasn't went to the gym and hasn't done that, edit round it, dude. But there's no need to actually show, because then there's a bit where Michael Keaton has got his arm like right in it, and I'm like, your arm looks like you've had some chemo, man. Like, what the why? But in the suit, you've got fucking shoulders and necks for days. You're flipping around, picking people out with one arm and throwing them about. That brings me out here. Never mind the fact that even when Batfleck at the beginning of dressing, running about, it looked like a PS2 game. So it's
But then Anthony Starr talking to Jensen Ackles off, they're doing an interview about the boys, and Jensen Ackles is telling him how he fucking didn't eat sweeties, he
Yeah, I've seen
didn't
that.
drink, and he took his diet really serious because he wanted to look jacked and ripped. And Anthony Starr was just like, "Do you not just get them to add muscles to the suit?"
Anthony Starr. I've noticed that about Anthony Starr too. I think in the first season of The Boys actually looked really good, and then over time you're like, that's a suit with big fake muscles in it.
I
But, like,
really appreciate that because
I did, yeah.
fuck working out.
Yeah, do you know what I did?
I don't.
We're not yet.
If you've got
Because
that,
you come from a gym fucking
I
life
do, but
background.
I just think if you've got that, it's kind of like getting a part as an actor and then not researching it.
I
It's
get-
like
I
if
do,
you're
I
going
get
to
that.
need-
Yeah.
If you're going to get a part as a fucking superhero, you need to look like one. If you're going to get a part as a, that depends on the superhero. But if you know what I mean, don't do your best ability. Don't just go, well, I don't need to do that. It's like I've done an accent.
Superman needs to be huge, like
Yes.
he's Superman.
And I'm going to say
you
it
know?
again, David Cornsweet is not Superman. He's
No,
a
just
fucking-
I think I said it first.
replace
I
him
was
with
happy
Cavill.
with it.
No.
Just replace him with Cavill.
put Cavill back.
What everybody
Cavill is
wants.
fucking Superman.
Cavill Superman. Sorry,
was so cool.
talking about. I'm whining about fanboys moaning. Cavill Superman.
But Cavill himself is a fanboy, and that's why that's why he left
know.
The Witcher. I love that about him. He's
Do you know?
like,
Do you know?
"Fuck
Do you
He's
know the
like-
famous story about him? Why when he got the call for the part for Superman,
and he nearly missed it.
he nearly missed it because he was away playing like Warhammer.
He World of Warcraft.
phone down.
Aye. But I think he loves Warhammer, but he was playing World of Warcraft or like a pure online like raid or something. And his phone's going, and he's like, "No, can't do it. I'm playing. I'm like, I get that, man. I get that. Like,
Fucking love
I
it.
love that shit.
My cousin Jennifer goes out with a guy called Kit who's from Jersey,
All
right?
names just totally.
I know. I was sorry.
just
They're
dox
fake names.
people.
They're fake names. But
Nobody, you don't give a fake name like Kit.
I know. Kit, and he's from Jersey. So Kit's from Jersey, right? And that's where Henry Cavill's from.
Oh, right.
I was going to say it was all Jersey. It was only going to be one guy called Kit.
I was going to say.
Everyone on Jersey is
I was
like.
going to say like that makes even like.
Well, fuck it.
Fucking kid, sorry.
Aye, I fucked it for myself now. But,
We're only joking.
but
mate.
Hi,
basically,
Kit.
I think
Hey.
he was friends with Henry Cavill's brother, and like way back in Casino Royale days, Henry Cavill was going about Jersey, being like, "I'm going to be James Bond. I'm
Yeah,
going to be
he-
Superman," and they were like, "Yeah,"
Did he what he's
and he fucking was Superman.
Fucking
at the
hell,
end.
man.
and he's fucking close to being Bond.
And he should be. And I don't believe I'm a big Bond fan, but I love about him that like it's like even how people were trying to kind of discredit him recently and say about The Witcher behind the scenes, and all these people come out who are writing for the new seasons were saying he was so toxic. He was so. All he did was sit in his trailer and play computer games. And any time he came out, all he had to say is we were doing the lore wrong because we weren't doing it properly the way the Witcher books are or the game is. And it was like this. And it's like,
You're like,
he's right.
Yeah,
Like,
the boys,
fucking, like-
the boys right. It's like,
That's
you
what,
can't say someone's toxic for correcting something that's wrong.
that's what you want. And talking about him playing Bond, I think him playing Bond again, they should go back to playing him in the 60s. I think that would be a
I
really,
think that's the way to
good-
go.
So
Yeah.
I'm not too bothered about the era, like of what it is.
Right.
I would still like to see what I said previously, which you're not doing. She's basically confirmed. Barbara Broccoli said she's not doing it. I would love to see Bond in his start of his career. So I know we got Daniel Craig when he was 007 right at the start, and he was officially awarded and all that shit. But I'd like to see his naval years and becoming the spy that he is. And by the end of the first movie, we get to see him becoming.
Can I
I'm
tell you
not
something?
into
Bond?
it. Not into it. I want Bond to be Bond, and I want him to be a misogynist. Fucking
No,
shag and everything, and just going for it.
That's where we get to find him as a
That's-
misogynist
Can
shagger.
I tell you something about Bond? And it's, I have, and this only really applies to Daniel Craig films because, shocker, I've not really seen any of the older ones. I mean, my mate loved them, my uncle loved them. I can't pass by them.
Yeah.
I have seen every Daniel Craig Bond film. I could not tell you the plot of any of them. Like literally, I am lit.
It's a good
So the
point.
guy done the thing that done the. How did I don't give a fuck. Like I just.
It's a very good point, actually. I should really take that on the chin.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Because I'm a massive Bond fan,
Mm-hmm.
but the plot of most of the Bond movies are just like.
Yeah,
just
but as a
weird when I think
non-complete
about it, yeah.
fan, I was watching it like.
Because I'm a super Bond. So my favourite film is Mission Impossible's.
Right,
That's my
right.
number one kind of spy movies.
I'm going to watch that. Yeah,
It's fucking excellent. I'd say we're talking about people moaning. I'm not.
I told you we don't have a job if we don't have this. Is the thing, man. Like,
True.
Yeah, it's true. But Mission Impossible was my favourite, but then James Bond's next. You're so fucking right. When it clicked in my head there when you said that. I was
Yeah.
like, the actual story of all of Daniel Craig's is all just like mush.
mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Daniel
all-
Craig one was literally the Bourne movies came out, and I was like, that's what we should be doing.
Yeah, they kind of went, oh,
But they
fuck,
just-
Bourne's
They're
good.
like, we can't have him have an erased memory and not really know his past, right? So
'cause
let's
that's
just kind of try and make it like that.
But see, the
not
Bond movies, I
that.
can tell you the kind of plot of them. I mean, not the fully intricate spy shit, but I can tell you,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? The basically
Bond, yeah,
the
yeah,
act structure, do you know what I mean? I can say. So, I don't know. I've just never been. I like the character of Bond. I just never really like. It's weird. It's kind of same with Star Wars. I love Jedi and Sith. The Star Wars. Love lightsabers and the Force.
Yeah.
Don't really give a fuck about the rest of it.
I'm going to say something so fucking controversial here, right? And it was one of the episodes that I'd always wanted, and it's not going to work in Zoom, but it might work in this room. Star Trek's better than Star Wars.
I think there's more for that. I don't agree, but I think there's more
Oh, I've got a fighter in the room.
But see, I'm the worst. As I said,
But
I'm
then
the worst
again,
person 'cause
I don't have a dog. Well, I do have a dog in the fight, but
I was going to say I don't have a dog. I'm like, okay.
I've
got a cat.
Called you back up. Like,
but I've not seen the Star Trek TV series.
Okay.
Like the Shatner. I've seen Chris Pine.
Is that the
Two
Poundland
minutes.
there's so
version of
many
him?
Chris's,
Yeah.
it's all right. There's one of them here.
Another Chris.
Hello, I'm Chris
Um,
Prine.
I've seen those two movies. There was two, right?
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, they were good.
Oh, do you mean the films?
The
The whole
universe.
thing, right? Because I am not a big Star Trek or Star Wars fan,
Yeah.
right? But like, I love the universe of Star Wars better, right? Because Sith and Jedi, the powers of the Force, and lightsabers are cool as shit. Even when I was a wee guy, I would love lightsaber battles. And I love Return of the Jedi, but I didn't.
I like how we went like that.
Yeah, but how else do you lightsaber battle? I just is that not how you do it?
Do you know what? I'm going to get really dirty. Please, if any kids are watching, turn this off. But there was a Star Wars condom at one point.
Oh shit!
yeah,
did it glow green, blue, or
Hey,
pink?
you picked the one that you did, and I was like,
Mom, please turn off if you're watching
Have
this.
they got a Jabba
Where did
the
you
Hutt
get that?
one?
Because I want that. I will shine that light bright. I will shine little diamond all
we-
night
if
on.
we're
Not little
gonna-
diamond, big diamond. I will fucking...
Have they got a Jabba the Hutt one?
ladies, ladies.
Back on. That'd be some ticklish shit.
I'd have Yoda.
Yeah. Just to get... It's got really weird balls. But it can flip about like that. It can do mad tricks.
I'm only kidding. It's average size.
That's my Han Solo one. It shoots once then leaves it.
Swear, right, this was donkeys ago, and I remember seeing it. There was a comedy line of condoms, and it was all glue, every single one of them going
Tell us in
dark.
the
Man.
comments
Amazing.
if you want to see us buy them and model them for you as a kid.
But we're only gonna do it in the dark.
Or tell us,
You don't know this, right?
Geekified's OnlyFans.
or tell us in the comments, have you used one?
No,
And did you get cancer off it? 'Cause
I know.
it sounds pretty cancerous.
I genuinely like. I think it'd be an interesting episode. I know you're. Like, I've got a fighter here.
Not
You're not.
really. I love Empire Strikes Back.
So what I was going to say there is the first 3 films grew up. I was never massive. Even when I was playing like Battlefront 2, the computer game, with my friends recently, and or the last few years, and get right into it. And there's some of the characters I love. I love some of the powers, the force. I love some of the world. But I've just never been wrapped into the actual stories the films give. Does that make sense? So like,
Yeah,
like,
no, I agree.
and I've been like, I love Sith and Jedi. I love the idea of badass Sith and the powers you get, and change the some of the quotes and lightsabers and that. But the actual story is something I don't get. But my friend kind of sat me down and was like, "You're going to like this," and was watching it through, right? And I was like, "I'm enjoying this, but not as much as I enjoy other things. It's not. It's not my
Right, I'm putting I'm going to put a challenge.
Star Trek. Okay, so you said about Star Trek. My other pal loves Star Trek. When I was younger, it was too. I always like things blown up, so it was too intellectual for me as a wee guy, right? And never really sat and watched Star Trek, but the world it offers. That's why I said there's a good argument for that. That peaceful utopia, but fucking like intellectual world rather than boom, boom, boom. I think now as an adult could be really fucking cool. Could be, so sorry,
No, that's all. That's all. You're right, a fucking arsehole. But like, that's what I've always enjoyed. I've always enjoyed the social conflict of Star Trek. I think it's always a bigger thing because you get the big battles, you get the aliens, you get all the different weapons, you get all different stuff.
And they fuck them.
And they fuck them.
And Chris,
they fuck them.
and then Kirk fucks aliens all the time. So there you go. But I got a wee challenge. And when there was an idea for an episode, I want to challenge someone. Obviously, I'm a Star Trek fan. If you think you're a Star Wars fan and you want to battle with me, who I'm quite a Star Trek geek, invite you onto an episode and we can have out. And we can have a wee fight. So
as long as you wear a glow-in-the-dark condom.
That's it.
And this room is completely black, and you have to find his asshole.
And if one disappears,
I'm setting my phasers to wank.
I'm setting my phasers to fucking defend.
We've got a space hole over here.
A black hole.
We'll call this the holodeck. We could do some good shit in it.
The holodeck.
The whole deck. If any hoes want to come to the deck. Anyway.
Challenge is on though. If anyone out there that thinks they're a massive Star Wars fan, if anyone wants to come to my defence, we can have a wee battle off and have a wee episode.
Have in the comments in the way of like, I don't quite, we can hardly put things in time. I don't quite know how YouTube works with the type of
this is going to come out in
that.
2026. The way we're doing
so
it.
You'll have kids by then. But like, if we could put things out, maybe in a wee poll or a wee kind of like, I don't know, pin comment thing, or whoever's got the most likes on a comment, or whoever's got the best take on Star Wars versus Star Trek, and lives in the Glasgow area and has the kind of main slights that we could say, come on. Do you know what I mean? Something like that,
I'm happy.
that
No, that's what I mean. Is like if anyone is in Glasgow area and wants to come in and challenge me to a little bit of a star off,
or even the other way around. If any of you're a big Star Wars fan.
No.
All right, we're not
Star Wars, Star Trek.
But that's the thing is like, if you're a Star Wars fan, I'm a Star Trek fan. So if you want to fight me,
Star Wars, Star Trek. I think you're all pussies.
Like, geeks. Oh shit! Yeah, shit.
Oh wait! Oh shit! What did they call it this for?
No, but I actually don't, because I remember my pals telling me before they were all going to Lord of the Rings, right? And they went to a showing of the extended versions of Lord of the Rings in a cinema, one after the other, without a break, dressed up as characters for Lord of the Rings. And that was like, fucking fags! like, you know what I mean? Because it was like, you're going to sit, and my mate actually won the costume, apart because he dressed up as Peter Jackson instead of MDL.
That's quite funny. That's funny.
He won the thing. But I was like, you're going to sit for 12 hours? Dressed up in glue and shit like that, and fucking.
I like so in Australia, talking to Australians, they used to do the staff building with the cans, which was a thing. That's where that originated. So every time you have a beer in a pub, you would sellotape another can until you had your big Gandalf staff. I thought that was quite cool.
Sorry, I'll just say about the word I said there. That is a South Park quote. It shouldn't be beeped, but we'll beep it anyway if it's fucking, because it's actually.
Sure.
Yeah.
Here's
I stand by it, but it is a South Park quote.
Here's
you see the one by Harry Potter. Anyway.
You should take the piss out of people dressing up, and we were last week wearing pink t-shirts at Barbie.
How
you look good,
Look who's doing segues. Let's talk about something really deadly serious and horrific. Now, we did, so obviously, Ryan was away with another
doing some Ryan things
with another Barbie doll.
Making some terrible decisions.
Yeah, some terrible decisions. Me and Callum went to see we did Barbenheimer, so we did both of them, and we came out of Barbie. And I'm going to say, and I'll be very honest, I was very optimistic. I came out of it, I was a bit chirpy, I enjoyed it. I kind of took everything on the chin, like probably Ken would. Just fucking like, I swear to God, like I was really happy after it, but the longer I've thought about it, everything kind of went more and more sour and more bitter, and I started to realise what a fucking steaming pile of shit it was.
And what a steaming pile of shit you were.
I was a steaming pile. I wasn't that drunk. I only had a couple of beers. But Barbie for me, when I first walked out of that cinema, I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I laughed at a lot. I went in expecting a very kids movie, and I enjoyed it. I actually had I chortled like fuck at so many different bits of the movie, and I probably didn't think about it. And then the more I thought about it, the more it started to hit into my head. And then before we even get to this, before you guys even give me your commentary, I've got the monologue.
Please, I would like.
So this is what. So I don't know if you
refresh the
you probably
vindictive, evil horribleness that this.
I said, don't tell me what you think about it, Ryan.
Can you not tell by the seething rage and the veins popping in my face?
So America Ferrera had a monologue in the Barbie movie. What I want both of yous to do.
Shut up.
No, I want you to speak up, but I want you to beep.
Okay.
So I want you to go beep or whatever noise you fucking want to make, whether that's wanker, cunt, whatever you want to swear.
I think beep. What is the beep to cover over?
So the beep, no, it's not beep. It's beep when you kind of disagree to what I'm going to say.
Oh my God. Okay. Beep, 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 beep. I'm going to sound like fucking... what's that wee robot for fucking back days?
Yeah. So basically, she makes a big, massive commentary, and I think it's halfway through the movie, where America Ferrera makes a commentary, and she says about the difficulties that women have in the world. What I want you guys to do is to beep when you disagree with it, because it's the same problem that guys have in the world.
Specifically because it's the same guys. The problem
because it's not specifically a problem that women have.
Okay, but
it's a problem.
What if it is specifically
you
a
don't
problem
have to say
women have? But I think it still doesn't deserve to be in the thing because
no, I want you to, because if it's a problem that women have.
But my point is because as men and women being very different beings, we have separate but as important problems. So I mean,
of course we do. That's why you don't. You just don't make the noise.
Okay.
So if it's specific,
that's not the game. Okay,
no, that's not the game. We're not talking about it. I just want you to beep as I'm talking.
That's cool. I know the stipulations. That's cool.
Just. So I'm going to read the part of the commentary of the where I got this article from. So it's women can't get enough of America Ferrera's powerful Barbie monologue. It will go down as one of the best scenes of the year, says one fan who was on.
I've been trying to hold that up for you already.
So this is the commentary before I even get to it. So there we go. Here we go. Ready? It is literally impossible to be a woman.
Beep. Beep.
You are so beautiful and so smart, and it kills me that you don't think you're good enough. Which is no, this is just a comment.
No, it kills me you don't think you're good enough. If I talk about all men and all women.
No, she's talking to somebody at this bit. She's talking to someone.
This is the bit where they had to have the over thing to say, when you hire Margot Robbie.
No. But no, that was fun. I thought that was quite funny. You can't really say that if you've got Margot Robbie complaining about being good looking.
But it brings me another point at the film.
No, sorry, right. So this is her talking to whoever it was. She says, yes, you're so beautiful and smart, and it cares when you don't think you're good enough. Here we go. Like, we always have to be extraordinary.
Beep.
But somehow we're always doing it wrong.
Beep.
You have to be thin, but not too thin.
Well, muscular, but not too beep. But it's like...
no comments, just beep if you disagree with it. You have to be thin, but not too thin.
Beep.
And you can never say you want to be thin.
Beep.
You have to say you want to be healthy.
Beep.
But you also have to be thin.
Beep.
You have to have money.
Beep. Beep.
But you can't ask for money because that's crass.
Beep.
You have to be a boss.
Beep.
But you can't be mean.
Beep.
You're supposed to love being a mother. Well, yeah, or father.
Father. Beep.
But you don't talk about your kids all the damn time.
Beep.
But also, you have to be. No comments. You have to be a career woman or man.
Beep.
But you also have to be looking out for other people.
Beep.
You have to answer for man or women's bad behaviour, which is insane. But if you point that out, you're accused of complaining. You're supposed to stay pretty for men or women. You're not pretty if you tempt them too much, but you threaten other women or men because you're supposed to be part of a sisterhood or brotherhood. But always stand out but always stand out and always be grateful. But never forget that the system is rigged.
Beep.
So find a way to acknowledge that, but always be grateful.
Beep.
You have to never get old.
Yeah,
Beep.
beep.
But
Kind of gracefully. Sorry.
but never be rude.
Beep.
Never show off.
Beep.
Never be selfish.
Beep.
Never fall down.
Beep.
Never fail.
Beep.
Never show fear.
Beep.
Beep.
Never get out of line.
Beep.
Beep.
It's too hard. It's
not,
too
'cause I'm
contradictory. No comments. It's too contradictory and nobody gives you a medal or says thank you.
Beep.
No comments.
I know, beep.
And it turns out the fact you're doing everything wrong, but it's also your fault.
Beep.
This is the powerful fucking statement that fucking witch hits out and says, this is all about women.
So,
I'm sorry, let me get this
no,
out
please
because
don't.
I'm on a ranting stage. Get in the fucking bin. See all these fucking daft fucking pussies out there that seem to think, oh, it's so hard being a woman because I walk down the street and I feel threatened. How do you think it feels being a guy who walks home alone at 1 o'clock in the morning, walking through Govan? I've got keys in my fucking hands ready to get in some sort of fight. Last week when Ryan left here, a guy came up trying to sell us a fucking phone.
That's right.
Ryan dropped his bag and was ready to hook somebody just because he felt so unsafe. But women are the ones that have the problem because we don't deal with this. We are the ones that apparently are having a life of luxury and everything's absolutely perfect. I put on weight over the past couple of years since COVID. Do you know how fucking fat I feel some days? Do you know how shite I feel some days? Oh, but if women put on weight, it's a drama.
beautiful anyway.
Everything. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's
Who's
like,
telling a guy they're beautiful for having fucking...
women seem to fucking forget that if this is an issue that guys have as well.
Mate,
every single thing that I said in that massive commentary is an issue for men. And I'm happy to die on this hill and fucking say,
I will
like,
die in this hill, my flag next to it, my
I
rotten
swear
body
to God,
next to
I've
his fucking...
never been more angry in my life after the more that I watched that, I read that comment again, I was like, every single fucking point she makes is applicable to men.
Aye. Mate, but I'm glad you brought this up, specifically this speech, because I was watching Barbie at home, right? Because like,
How did you do that, Ryan?
Just because I'm magic, man. I've got magic mono eyes.
Weird.
But like fucking like so I can see fucking bullshittery, whatever it is. I just looked out and seen it. But I'm watching it and I'm literally standing up. I went to make it and I'm like, what? Do you know what I mean? It caught me. That I wasn't even sitting down watching. It caught me standing up. That I had to stand in front of my TV and be like, what? And there was a lot of bits in this film like that. But I was like, this is the most backwards piece of shit I've ever heard in my fucking days. Because what you said there about walking unsafe, I've heard this thing a lot. And listen, I'm sorry for any woman that walks about and feels unsafe. And that, yeah, truly, I don't mean that sarcastically. Truly, right?
Oh, so am I.
I don't want people to feel unsafe, man or woman. But listen, if you think for a second that fear you feel walking about as a woman, the thing is, every guy in your vicinity as a woman will help you. How many times yourself have been walking through Glasgow and you see an argument going with a couple? The guy gets too rowdy, the guy says something, fuck you, maybe grabs his girl by the elbow, guys fall around, what you doing, mate? Fuck you, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I myself, not trying to be silly, but I've jumped and intervened when I've seen a woman in trouble against, something that you think isn't fucking right. Have I ever jumped in for a dude getting slapped about his bird? No, I myself have walked by and laughed. Yeah. Or, fuck that, even between female and male, a guy getting, almost robbed in the street, not my problem.
Yeah.
It's a girl, I need to intervene.
Yeah.
Because this kind of underlying thing that if you're a guy you can deal with, I'm guilty of it too. Because we fucking say to each other. Do you know what I mean? As you said, like fucking, and that's the way, I'm not even funny. I don't, kind of how it should be in a way. Like we are not, what I mean is we're built differently, right? But like fucking.
Of course we are. We're more threatening, we're more dominant. So, the muscle mass is higher, testosterone, agility. It's 10 times higher in women.
And also women can bear children, they're literally more important. Yeah. If you want it for me, there's your feminist thing. You're literally more important, right? But this idea that we're fucking walking about just ready to pred and fucking jumping women at every fucking given chance.
But it's not about
every
that.
Guy gives a guy a high five for doing it. No, but in that Barbie film too, there's even the bit where Ken is in the fucking dealership and that, and he's speaking, and he's like, and it's quite, some of it's, the way Ryan Gosling done it, it's funny, but he's like, where's the patriarchy? And he's like, oh no, we can't do that anymore, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, you aren't doing the patriarchy very well. And the guy's like, shh, nah, we are, we're just quiet about it now. As if we've all got this secret club that we all speak to each other and go, mate, do you like putting women down, raping them in the weekends? Yeah, sorry, we'll need to beep that word because of YouTube. But it's a fucking fallacy. You're in so much more danger, like you said, walking about the streets as a guy.
Yeah.
I went to the Red Hot Chili Peppers concert on Sunday. right? And I get pissed at my pals because when we walked out, right, we all get kind of split up, we all got lost, blah, blah, blah. We're all on mushrooms, right? So nobody really is fucking like, no, like, I can't really be mad at him. I was having a great...
It means button mushrooms that you pick up
exactly.
from Tesco's for £2.
I mean, I don't, but yeah. But anyway, like, fucking, you're out and you're feeling your kind of emotional feeling. And I'm like, there's throngs and throngs of people walking, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like, a wave of people. And I'm pissed off at my own pals because we're all lost. There's two here, and I'm thinking, what if anything happens to us, right? And even at my bit and walking through, I had a few words. People are being dicks, and you're like, would you say that, mate? Blah, blah. You need to look after yourself. I was, even though I had my back up, even though me as and I'm not, like, look at me in my fucking passport shots. I'm not a hard man, but 6 foot tall, being able to, like, about fucking 180 pounds, can look after myself. But I was scared, dude, because I was scared if fucking, if one person that fucking get me and there's 2, 4, 3, 4 of them, I'm fucked. Any woman in that group, a throng of people that get attacked or set upon, every other guy in that vicinity would have fucking taken apart like a fucking broken toy.
Yeah.
And so this idea that every woman is fucking in danger when they're out, and this thing we said a few years ago when the horrible atrocity of that woman got murdered, and we're literally talking about giving men a curfew.
Yeah, I'm sorry, get in the fucking bin. I'm sorry, see, at the end of the day, like, I am honestly, like, I'm not left wing. I'm close to it. I'm somewhere in the middle, probably. I'm more a centrist.
Me too. I don't know
when
where
it comes to.
I don't know.
No one knows where they are any fucking more. But I'm sorry. Like, after I analysed that speech, I was
furious,
more and more angry, thinking like,
was there a reason that speech didn't come from the main star in the movie?
Possibly, I don't know.
Because that woman hasn't been in anything.
No, it's Greta. This is another thing I hate about it. Not Greta Thunberg, sorry. The director, not Greta. I hate her take.
What is it? Greta?
So what's the name? Gretwig fucking daft.
Greta Gerwig.
This is another thing I want to stop seeing. I want to stop seeing Hollywood directors like just make a film purely for fucking name, or like a TV show purely for them. I was watching this and I was like, this is a film, a self-masturbatory film. We may as well watch 2 hours of Greta fucking flicking her bean. I was like, because it's literally just her going, that's how I felt, that's how blah. And it's like, and that's why I brought the Margot Robbie thing.
Yeah.
Because the original person that was supposed to be, do you all know?
Amy Schumer.
Yeah. The original person that was Amy Schumer. It was maybe a much different film. She couldn't do anything. And I mean, fucking Jesus. I don't think they changed the film much for it was meant to be Amy Schumer. That's what I hate about. As an artist, you need to understand that, like, when something happens in your project, you need to go with it, right?
Yeah.
You don't just add a voiceover. Do you know what I mean? Like, she obviously had that scene written out where she goes, I'm not pretty anymore. And she goes, you know, you're beautiful to me. And then they need to add in, by the way, if you get this, try to make this point in your film, don't hire Margot Robbie. And it's like, well, don't hire Margot Robbie then.
But these are the things that I actually found a lot of that stuff funny.
No.
So I will disagree with you on that.
I'm on a fire.
No, I get that. I will disagree with the voiceover because I think the voiceover was needed because I didn't have a fucking Scooby-Doo what was going on at the start of the movie.
No, but can I ask you this then? Was it needed or could they rewrote the fucking scene if they've got a different actress? It doesn't matter. Like, no, instead of just being so... But think of the levels of creativity, right? Think of me or you, or if we had to edit around something, if we had to do something right, instead of just going, you know what we can just do? We can just put a voiceover and go self-referential, like break the fourth wall. If you're Margot Robbie, don't have this part in a film. Or put the actual work in to make it work for the story. This is another thing I hate about the film, and it's not even anything to do with feminism and anything like that.
Do I just go?
I'll talk to you.
Cut to the 2 chairs sitting there.
Sorry, I'll shut up. I will tell you the next thing in the film. Please don't just go, but because I do. This is what we love.
No, we're kidding. We're fucking this.
No, but I know.
I'm just making jokes because the podcast.
No, you're right, because if I don't get curtailed, I will go on here for the whole video.
It's 1:15 in the morning. It's a Friday. It's a Friday in 2025.
Tell you what,
I'm just going to sleep here.
We don't need to edit around it. I'll get a refill in a bit and use it. I'll be right back in a second. But the other thing I hated about it had no internal logic. I've hated this about film since I was a wee boy. When I played, literally since I played my action figures as a wee boy. That you can make a film about aliens or whatever, as long as, but you need to make your rules consistent in that sci-fi universe that you make, right? This film didn't give a fuck about that. And that's why I mean that it isn't actually a film. Doesn't actually have a plot. It doesn't have a theme. It's just scene after scene of man hating, right? And it literally is. I don't make it sound like anything big, but it literally is.
So this is where I disagree with that policy. I think I loved the bones of the film.
Really?
I loved it.
You did love it.
I did.
I can vouch for it.
I can actually vouch for it. I came out and I fucking enjoyed the shit out of it. It was until I analysed the politics of it. I like the sort of...
I'm just pretty sorry.
That's okay. It's like...
He's just like...
Goose frabber.
I enjoyed the stupidness of the logic of Barbie world and the real world, and I had so much fun. But I really took my brain out, and the minute I plonked my brain out, like the next day, I thought, what a bunch of fucking dicks. It was like, it says, when I put my brain logic back in, I was like, how horrific is this to young boys?
Yeah.
And
girls.
Yeah.
And girls.
No. I'm saying, like, it says, like, so for like against young boys, like the girls who are seeing this are the ones that are damaged. They're literally thinking that there's some fucking horrific patriarchy. And sorry, and I did Google this. I actually Googled this just yesterday before we did the podcast. The CEO of Barbie, Mattel, it's a woman.
So it's not.
Do you know how many? There's a board of, I think it's 11 or 12. Do you know how many are women? 6.
Why? Yeah.
6
why were they
out
all
of
men?
10 or 11.
Why were they all?
But they were all men just to make it look bad.
This is what I mean.
Just to make a point. So it's absolute fucking bullshit. They really, really went to town on the whole idea.
And Callum, I know you hated it too, so it's like fucking please let us know why. So, like without me ranting again, because I was writing notes and I was sending a message to you up. I was raging. So
I'm just annoyed that it's made more money than Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to the I know you hated the structure of it. I think I like kind of stupid kids movies.
So
I've always have, and I enjoyed the structure. I enjoyed the voiceover by Helen Mirren. I thought it was daft as fuck. I enjoyed it. I thought it was hilarious. Like I said, it was like the structure and everything about the movie. I loved. I genuinely loved it.
I would put money on the fact that the voiceover by Helen Mirren. Right?
You just put it whatever that was.
What the fuck that is? Yeah, I know what the fuck was that.
It's a bit of string off your shirt.
String off my shirt, but thank God it's not.
It just did a lap of your mouth.
But the voiceover by Helen Mirren, right? I enjoyed the beginning. I like that. See that kind of old, like, intelligent voice giving you a narration. Right? I like that. But I will put money on it. There's no way to probably figure this out.
Yeah.
But the bit where it says, oh, and don't hire Margot Robbie was you need to come in and say this line.
I found that
because
funny, though.
fucking, no.
I laughed like fuck.
But to me, this is what I hate, and you get too much of it in She-Hulk writing these days and different. It's people writing
talk about
but it's people writing their story.
Don't bring this podcast down by bringing that up.
It's people writing their story. What happened to them? And okay, there's a bit of a dichotomy here because some of the best work are like passion projects, right? That can pertain to your own story and all that kind of thing. But it's a difference between telling your own story from an artistic point of view and how your eyes seen it and hoping other people see it through those eyes, and then just try to force your propaganda and ideology on people. That's a different thing, right? And what I mean by this story is it didn't even have interlining conjectural fact tissue. It's just one scene after the other of man hating, and I'm watching it, and I'm literally, I'll fight me in this, but I'm literally telling texting my pals that I've got like wee girls, you might need to like reconsider whether you want your wee girl to see this film or not, right? Because
actually the thing is, like, see with Ken and all that, like I said, I checked my brain out. I genuinely checked my brain out, and I think it made me understand the stupidity of the general public for a second, because I went along there and I realised that after I watched that, I'm like, if everybody is checking their brain out or people don't have a brain, how much have they taken of this in? Because
this is what scared me.
Yeah, I'm not stupid enough to realise, like, I seen Ken as being the dumb sidekick, and I enjoyed the jokes about Ken because at the end of the day, he was just
Barbie's sidekick.
Barbie's sidekick, and that's what I took it as. I took it as just him being a sidekick. But when it started to become patriot, he should have just been the sidekick in the real world, and that would have been funny. I said this to Callum earlier, right? Or there's a bit in the film that they could have turned it all round. Right?
Yeah, they didn't. And because Barbie says to him early in the film, it's girls' night every night, and he's like, okay, because he'll do it for Barbie. And they even say in the first few minutes, but the only thing that will make Ken's day is if Barbie looks at him. Imagine that rewritten, right? But anyway, without even getting there, because that's whataboutism, but sometimes that fucking makes sense. But anyway, they go to the end. Ken's brought the patriarchy and all that. It's not really patriarchy, it's just fucking like frathood, right? But he's brought the patriarchy to, and I also find it so funny. I think I text you guys that said, I don't even think this film knows what it's saying anymore. Because I was like, okay, you're trying to tell us femicide, but how come the kids are so easy to be able to like oppress the Barbies? If it's if it's that evil, that bad, how could they do it in a day? Ken even says it. She says, you didn't do this in a day. And he's like, well, I did. And it's like, what story are you trying to tell now? You try to say that you're so weak that fucking... But my point is, there's a bit where, because Ken's hurt, he says, it's boys' night every night. And it's meant to be her realisation of, oh, fuck, I was a dick. Which would be actual character growth. Which was when I was pissed off at it for ages, and I seen this bit, and I actually thought, I might need to actually send some text after this saying, actually, the third act, like, fixed it. Do you know what I mean? And then they just don't.
But that's what I'm saying. It was like, but for me, like I says, is like I know that anger is there about everything. There's so much jokes and points in the film that are actually so well like put.
Could
like,
you name 2 or 3? Because I don't.
I generally couldn't.
No. I mean, like, see, like the whole point of like Ken, like saying like, see, like the joke. See how they structure it, like saying like, oh, it's girls' night and then boys' night, and it's like him rather than making it or having all the patriarchy in it. That is a subtle kind of thing about
just about how Ken sucks towards Barbie.
Yeah, it's just a bit about relationships, saying, oh, you were bad to me, now I'm bad to you. And it's about how making people understand that relationships are equal.
That's what I said. You could have had it being
that's what I mean.
egalitarian at the end, but they don't.
But take it, so imagine that entire movie and pull the fucking horrific patriarchy out of it, and imagine just a relationship where they were just a relationship.
Yeah.
It was nothing about men and women. It was just a couple kind of...
But that's my point.
Take that out, I think the structure of the movie was actually enjoyable and fun.
If I know
but they smashed it with fucking
2000s. See if this is an early 2000s romantic comedy, right? And you had that same. If you led in.
It'd be Ben Stiller as
well, not
Ken,
but yeah, but see
Jennifer
if you
Aniston
led
as
into the Toy Story aspect. This is another thing. I know this is geeky to get into, but like I have always, since a wee boy, been very upset when people can't follow their own internal logic.
Yeah.
This film had none. Right? I will love my favourite film and get pissed off by looking at an indiscrepancy about how does this make sense if this makes sense in your own logic of the world you've created. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't care if you make purple be a fucking colour that melts people's faces, but you need to get a reason. You can't just say, because, you know what I mean? Like, so in the Barbie world, it was like, I felt that Greta, whatever her face was, directed this and just thought, no, I've got a message to tell. Everything else comes secondary. So the dynamics of the world, how everything works, how we even get from the portal from one land to the other. Because the portal to Barbie world is literally a road.
But see, you have to remember, right? So I think this is where I think that she was getting lost. I think this is where the concept is lost. Barbie land is all about the matriarchy. It's all about the women being dominant.
But this is what I'm getting.
And this is where it doesn't work. And that's what the whole idea is.
Because the whole thing, what she's trying to say, and sorry to cut across, I'm going first up, is she may as well not see Ken and Barbies. She may as well see men and women. That's what she's trying to say.
But this is where I don't get, because in that world, she actually corrects Ken and says it's not just about Barbie and it's Ken, it's Barbie and it's Barbie and
but
it's
I
Ken.
feel that was thrown in as fucking nonsense.
But that's what I'm saying. It was like this is where these tiny little blobs of realism would have been fucking. See if that was the end of the movie. No, it's not about Barbie Land. It's not. It's actually it's Barbie and it's Ken.
That's literally what
it
I
should have been.
Because they put the first it in the bit when she says, "But this is Barbie's playhouse, not Barbie and Ken's playhouse," and I thought. But if that's how it ends, with it's Barbie and Ken's playhouse, fair play.
They should have corrected it to make Ken just as equal as Barbie.
Yeah, but they
didn't. That's the problem. But they went, no, fuck guys, fuck men. Barbie's in charge, and
we're not hating on Barbie because we're men.
No, I don't. I'm not.
I genuinely wanted to like. I wanted to love it. I wanted to come away from it.
I'm not saying that I hate it.
Please don't cut this. I'm going back.
I'm not saying that I hate it. I'm actually saying that I fucking enjoyed the shit out of the film.
I did.
I did, and you know that you were there.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the shit out of it, but I think the amount that they sandwiched in of like just like making it just hating men was the problem. Yeah. I think they made it just a wee bit too harsh, and it's like I'm saying it was like the whole.
A wee bit too harsh. Listen,
you know what I make me.
For me, see if Gosling wasn't in this movie, it would be a car crash.
Yeah, and I'm going to say this as well before we
car crash, anyway?
before we wind up, because we are well over time.
I'll help you into it, but I want to
it's not about ending, it's about time.
Yeah.
Before we kind of roughly get to the end, I will say this: Ryan Gosling is Ken. I think he actually fucking nailed that. Regardless of whether you hate it or not, of how he played that nuanced character of being just a fucking doll.
Yeah, could you imagine any other actor?
Any other actor
Zac
doing that?
Efron or something like that?
It wouldn't
in
have
that
worked.
Role, it wouldn't have worked.
I mean, I don't know. I like Ryan Gosling.
Take your-
I think Zac Efron. You brought
Take
Zac
your
in here, didn't
hatred,
it?
take your everything.
Yeah, but no, because
as a
the thing
performance.
is, the thing is that there was the only bit I snickered at, I laughed at was it was a movement Ryan Gosling did towards the end or something like that. He was the only one that looked like he was having fun and like that. And I agree with that point. But the thing is, man, strip away the pink. Strip away this is a Barbie.
That's what Ryan said last week while we were watching the
This
film.
is what I say
Strip
to-
the pink.
Yeah, this is what I say to most people. But like it's a very vindictive film. I honestly
Isn't all these movies vindictive?
but
though?
this is no.
They're
because
all
no,
of
no,
this.
no, this
Stop
is,
putting politics in the movies. That's what.
But
I-
this is
just
the thing.
fuck
I
off,
don't even
yeah.
see this as a film. It is literal propaganda from beginning to end. Right, the first 3 minutes, I even messages. The first 3 minutes are women breaking babies up or their baby dolls up so that they can follow being an OnlyFans model, basically. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is that is the message that you don't. But then they say through it all. But Barbie's a doctor, a scientist, and blah blah blah. But if you notice, none of those Barbies actually. They're just giving it. They're not like. Oh, because this is, and I know I'm talking about the inconsistencies in like the universe they created, but that's something that sticks hard in me. You need, if you're going to create a universe, you can create a Toy Story universe, you can create Marvel, you can create wild, wacky universes, but you need to stick to your internal consistency, right? So they create this Barbie world, but the Barbie world where they're kind of the dolls, but not really the dolls, but the maybe spirit versions of the dolls or something, you know, but because they're still
Haunted
human,
dolls.
they're not
Haunted
plastic,
dolls.
they're still human, they still act. But none of this is explained. You're just expected to just get it because
I
we've
don't
got.
know, see, this
no,
is.
but
I disagree
I
because
they've got
it's
a message to tell. This is what I mean. The message.
I know,
came
but you're.
first.
But no, we're not talking about the message. You're talking about like how do you make a fucking movie about Barbie though? The whole point.
I'd have
I'll tell
loved
you.
more
This is
Superbad
gonna-
type comedy. I'd have loved them to get down to the nitty gritty. Ken's got her in bed, and he just can't satisfy her because
They're
they're fucking
There's
toys.
bits, that was one of the funniest bits in the film where she goes, come over and he goes, to do what? And he's like, I don't know.
I don't even.
But
know.
that's the
But this
thing,
is where I think
but this is good.
Ryan Gosling goes back to Ryan Gosling. He nailed those lines.
But why
Like,
at the end of the film then do they know what Zack Snyder's Justice League is? And they're sitting watching Godfather.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the film, they don't understand what sex is. They don't understand why a woman and a man would like to be together at night. Then they're going to have a guy, because he's a guy, having to love the Godfather more and mansplain it to a woman. Then they're going to have a woman say, "Oh, I don't understand why I liked 4 hours of Zack Snyder's Justice League." Well, how come you don't understand what liquid is? You don't understand what sex is, but you watch these multiple. So is Barbie Land, or is it normal land? And then they went to human land, and all the men act like Kens anyway.
Yeah.
Will Ferrell not act the worst Kens than the actual Kens?
stupid
And it's,
characters.
but this is
They
the
are
thing.
stupid
but
characters.
falling
if
over.
you, and I hate this idea of but if you reverse any of it. And that's the thing about me saying it's vindictive. It's not just because I'm a fucking woman hating man that's pissed off about fucking this kind of shit and like get my panties in a bunch because I'm 35. See, if I was to watch a film that it was saying the same stuff about women in the same vindictive, vitriolic way. If I was to watch an Action Man film, right? Okay, dolls that we used to play when we were younger.
This is coming. It's effectively coming out.
Or for our American viewers, G.I. Joe. We've had G.I. Joe films, right? But look at the G.I. Joe films. This is kind of my point. How many strong female characters in a G.I. Joe film? At least like 4. Right? You look at, so let's make a G.I. Joe film or an Action Man film, and let's have the female in that only able to be a damsel in distress because that's her role and that's what she should be. And if she steps out that role, she's slapped back down and told, how dumb for you because you're a damsel in distress because we're the action men. So what I mean is, if I was watching that and it put all the women in the action men world, because I used to play with action men,
Yeah.
Dr. X, he was against that.
Yeah.
If in the action man world it was all women could only be his damsels, they didn't even have names, they just were that, and it was thrown through live actors in such a vitriolic way like that, I would be saying, that's fucking weird. Whoever wrote that film has got some mummy issues or something that really has to. But nobody questions it. We get a fucking nitwit face because it's like, oh, this is a strong female film. But I tell you right now, I don't have any children. If I had a little girl, I would be, if you wanted to see a Barbie film, I would be coming out and I'd be telling her the exact same way as if she had seen Terminator or Aliens or something. I'd be saying, no, you know that's not how the real world works.
Correct.
You know that's
I would do.
how,
I agree with that.
Yeah.
that
Should
all
have
men
notes.
are
Should have
evil.
notes.
They
Yeah.
don't just do, it's not that you go into the real
It's
world.
like when you put a kid in to see a horror movie, you say, just before you watch this movie, you know horror films aren't real. You know the ghosts aren't real. You know this. Well, are ghosts real? You know that. You know what I mean? It's like you would be saying to them, it's like, oh, the bad men in this aren't real. Don't worry
But
about it.
that's
The monsters aren't real.
vindictiveness.
Yeah.
Because ghost films are still playing in the fact that it's ghosts and it's scaring you for this 2 hours and that's it. This film tries to tell little girls. Now, this is why I used to work with kids and I've seen this being indoctrinated to them in real time. And this film tries to tell wee girls that they have to actively fight men or they'll be oppressed, and that the world is built to oppress them, and that the only option they have is to be misandric, evil witches that hate men and subjugate men at every turn. Even the whole plan that gets the Kens fucked over is how women...
Stupid they are as well.
No, but it's how stupid they are. But look at what they say. They say, turn men against themselves, do this, protect... I've never seen such a disgusting scene as all the Kens and Barbies who are meant to be built for each other sitting at the campfire together, and the Barbies on purpose start trying to talk to the other to make the other guys jealous. And that's a scene telling wee girls, this is what you do to men.
Yeah, could have done an entire fucking episode on Barbie, but Greta Gerwig, congratulations, you broke Ryan.
Yeah, I'm never going to watch another film with pink in it.
Yeah, I know. Like, yeah, there's a difficult subject. We need to wrap it up. We're 150 million. This could be. Just be 2 parts? Could we just cut? It potentially could have been 2 parts. If we've cut it and this is the part 2 of this, it could be halfway through the week. Who knows? Because it's quite a long episode, and we are all now angry and going to go and kick a kitten. I don't know what we're going to do.
And we need to pee.
I'm my own AP. So
I kept walking back and forth on this.
That's pretty much what I said. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah,
Bursting.
Yeah, so thank you very much for joining us. Please, if you haven't, hit like or subscribe. If you're listening to us, if you're watching us, go and check the listening page and like that. If you're listening, go and check the YouTube page and like that. Please like and subscribe, and we absolutely love you all. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you guys for letting me rant. I will say as well, hit the wee thing that makes it you get notifications because it matters.
Content creators can't get anywhere without support, and we need you to support at this stage because we want to do this.
Yeah.
We're passionate about doing this.
And the thing is, sorry, on you go.
No, I was just saying, like, it seems like we're pandering to people and being like, please follow us, but we can't get anywhere until people do. And if you do like it, if you have enjoyed it, please let us know.
Yeah, but Greta Gerwig, you can go fuck yourself.
And that's all I was going to say is the small care people we do have kind of enjoying our work seem to be quite like they really like it. So all we're asking, if you do, get a like, get a subscribe, get a thing so that we can get to more, so that we don't need to keep pestering you guys, so we can get some comments to the thing, and also so that some people can fucking argue with us. I know I've got some opinions that people don't get to love.
Ryan,
And
opinions? Never.
Come argue with me. Bring it on.
Well, there you go. There's a couple of challenges this week, but yeah, we can do this all day. Good night.
Love you guys.